First of all, let's get this out of the way. And welcome to another muggy day in the UK. Right, I've moved out a few things just because we're going to put a new tent down. This is not my tent, this is my mother's. And so we're going to set the kit up here and see how we get on. Now this tent is from the range, and just by looking at it, we don't even know if it's got a pump inside, but apparently it's supposed to have a pump because it is an air tent. Yes, the tent is basically called Brazen and it's a 4-person tent. So let's crack on and get it out. Right, before I start, it weighs 14.9 kilos. Knackered already, I've only got on the floor. So this is the Trail Brazen 4 air tent. Obviously it's a 4-man tent, it's also got a blacked out area for sleeping. So we're just gonna whack it up and basically you can see me put this up and then we'll whack up some more specs as I'm putting it up. That kind of makes things a little bit easier and a little bit quicker to deal with. My mum, she's sitting over there having a nice cup of tea and I'm sure she's relaxing while I do all the hard work. You all right, Ma?
Yes, I'm fine.
Lovely. But let's crack on with it. Right, let's get it up. 14.9 kilos. It ain't that bad. As always, instructions are in the bag. Lay them down, but as a man, all men ain't gonna use them. Just throw it up. And see how we get on without even looking at the instructions. So it should be pretty simple. It's just a normal tent. Just take off these, make sure they go back in the bag, as in every tent. So when you unravel it, just make sure all the bits go back in the bag so they don't get blown away. There's the bag. Now I'm a little bit worried already because this is an air tent and I don't see any sign of a pump. So we may even have to halt this because we have no pump. How lucky is that? The pump is in there. That is a small little decent one, but it's also break back worthy. Right, so we'll have a quick look at the pump before we set anything else up, because the first thing you want to know is what pressure is being used to pump it up. So as all pumps go, you've got your hose and you've got 5 different separate attachments. Now, obviously straight away, we're just gonna get it all set up. Now there is no gauge to tell you what PSI goes into each one, but hopefully there may be something saying on the intakes of the air tubes. It doesn't look like there's anything either, but this is the range. But in a budget tent for 4 people, only 320 quid, and it looks quite nice already. But like I said, let's get it up and check it out. Let's delve in. Like I said, I'm not going to look at the instructions, just going to delve in and look at see how many pegs come with this. Now these look like the bog standard steel pegs. You've got your guy ropes or guy lines, and by the looks of it, there is 2 guide lines that come with it, and there's also 28 pegs that come with this. Obviously they come in a nice canvas little bag. And these are the poles. I believe these are probably for the awning. As I said before, we're doing this without setting the instructions. Now these are possibly for the awning to go at the front. Nice 2-inch stake at the front. Let's see how these go on. All right, we'll put them to the side for now and we'll get a start with putting the actual tent up. Right, let's find the front of the tent. Okay, now this bit looks like the inner of the tent. So what I'm going to do is spin around and stick the sleeping area at the back. So I think this is one of these where you can actually put the external tent up first before you put the internal in. But we'll see how we get on, and obviously then we'll know for the future. I'm just loosely putting it in. So I think the external goes on first and this bit goes on a bit later. You've got latches, right? So once you've got your big boy up, you literally roll it in and latch it on. See what I'm saying? But what I'm going to do, because I don't want to tread all over it. God, has it just got hot, or is that me? Now, the reason why I say that the external should go on first is because you've got these underliners, so they should go underneath the internal. Right, so what I've done is I've got the air beams, so their actual end is the front. It's a little bit awkward at first, but I've also taken the internal out because it looks like they've got clips on. So when you do put the actual tent in, you actually clip it all on from back to front. I think once it's already set up, then you'll never have to clip it all together again. It'll all come as one. But let's pin the front in and then do the air beams. All 4 corners pegged out, we're going to start pumping it up. So you're ready, it's supposed to go up to 7 PSI, but yet there's no gauge to tell you. You can't get no more. Is that where it stops? Yeah. I actually don't want to do that anymore. Because exactly, so it will slowly start to look better and better. As I said, this was apparently bought from the range. It's a 4-person tent. It's got a dark sleeping area. Practicality. You know, so my advice, when you're actually pumping this up, you're going to have to make little adjustments to suit. It's like a very high tent. We've got 1 more beam to go, so I shall move the camera around so you can see what it looks like from the side at the moment. So what you will see in the distance is the lazy old folk just relaxing while I do all the hard work. We'll crack on with this now. My mum's giving a nice little wave there. One more beam to go, and then we can start looking at the internal. So what you do, as with all air tents, put the main plug into the air beam, and then undo the other one with the other valve to put in your pump, and then you can crack on, as simple as that. But I will give it that, pump up ever so fast. I remember when I got my first air tent, I think it was Ergo, Horizon Ergo 6. Yeah, no way did they pump up as quick as that. All right, bearing in mind I've not put any of the guidelines out and I haven't fully stretched the tent out, so we'll do that now. So like I said, I'm going around the whole tent right now, just making sure that everything is stretched out, fully looking good. Right, let's have a quick look inside before I put the internal in. Now I'm not going to put the guidelines out for now, it looks fine as it is, and if I undo the window, problem is it's going to attract the flies straight away and you're going to get flies inside, so I'm going to leave that closed for now. Let's go inside and have a quick look. So Grandad just told me that this tent has got some brilliant reviews. But like I said, I've put the external up first because I want to know, for one simple fact is, could it be used as a garage for a car? I know, multiple use. This is what you've got to think outside the box. Right, so as you can see straight away, I'm going to stretch these beams out because it doesn't seem like it's fully out like it should be. There's no pull cord on it, so it does need to go out further. Huge on the inside. Obviously I left the inner till last. Now most people have said that you do the inner first, but I wanted to check a few other things out first. As you see at the back, and I'll take you in there in a second, you can actually latch the internal in. Right, glasses off. You see I'm sweating? It's a proper muggy day. I'm going to connect them all up to the edges. So the internal is here. I had that laid out on the inside and I'll be connecting it to these points here. So this little geezer right here, he's living rent free right now, so we might have to evacuate him out. Right, so let's stick the internal up. Like I said, let's evacuate Mr. Ladybird. They've got wings, calm down. As you can see, I'm in a tent in the middle of summer, so I'm sweaty as. Right, these have got little latches connected to the internal, which obviously in turn connect to the external. So you connect the two at the back. Now, so you don't want to tread all over the tent on the inside. So you can start pinning it in straight away from the base, and I shall do that now, and we'll do it in fast time. So I'll fast forward it as I do it. Right, so that's the first set done up, really easy, but please bear in mind, when you do these, you can rip them. Now, a friend of mine had a Hillabird, and what they did is when they put it all together, they accidentally missed something, pulled it too tight, and it ripped one of the little connections. Right, let's carry on and do the next set of internals. Like I said, latch again, and then straight into putting the clips in. Really intuitive. I have not used the instructions for this tent at all. It's just a case of throwing it up, but as you probably know from my channel, I do a lot of tents, and this one was just a bonus because the mother had bought it, just to help you start off. Top one's in red, identified in red, just to give you an inkling that this is the centre. Pretty straightforward and intuitive, you won't get lost. Sometimes, like I said, you can take all these apart just to get some more airflow in there, or if you want to get rid of flies, excess. A nice little lamp holder there. Again, clip on both sides. Right, so that's the second one done, exactly the same, although I'm going to close that door because I don't want no more flies getting in. I'm going to move the camera backwards. Again, it connects at the corners, so giving it a nice taut. Again, a readjustment of the outdoor porch area. Like I said, you will need to readjust as you go along, and this is why I would never do the inside first. There is another reason why I won't do the inside first, and the simple fact is if you're out in bad weather, such as spitting rain and all that, like, you don't want it on the inside of your tent. Hence, that's why I started externally first. Also, I wasn't following the instructions. So the father-in-law has just asked us why is it turned up at the end. For the simple fact is rain ingress. You don't want the rain getting inside, so then when the main door's down, no splashing rain's going to pop inside. I'm just going to pin the two sides down, well, so it's nice and taut. Take my shoes off. See how sweaty I am. Yeah, proper sweaty doing things to these. As I said before, nice and taut on the base. So you got the bottom hook that goes on, and then the top hook. I'm so hot. It's nice and windy, but it's nice and hot. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring the door down, because the first thing you want to do is check the tension with the bits that are actually going, with the porch bits that are going out, because otherwise you'll come to the night time and you're trying to close up and you won't be able to. So the moment you've got it up, check the doorway. Otherwise you ain't going to be able to close it. It might be easier to close one side, but the other side may be a little bit harder. Hence this. So this is where you have to start making adjustments as you go along. Right, so the tent on the outdoor has got some nice storm flaps. Obviously they're Velcro down, so your zips won't come up during the night. But what we're going to try now is we're going to actually make this into a little bit of a porchway using the poles. So obviously with the porchway, you're going to have it undone. Now these are quite simple to do, to be honest. what I'll end up doing is putting one of the guy lines to this and taking it further out, obviously to a different angle. Guy lines for the porch area. These are the separate ones. All the other guy lines are already attached. So I'm just going to do a quick attachment, quick knot on it. Obviously the porch is not going to stay open during the night, so I want something that I can just whip it off straight away. Stretch it out. So the guy line will be shorter than the other one, and that is basically, though I did have rocks around here, so it's a bit of a nightmare. Mother, would you like to have a walk in? Grandad, come and have a look. Here comes the management to check it out. Alright, so what I'll do is I'll put the zips at the top for you, Ma. That way, it has got an internal door on the inside as well, so you can be completely blacked out. So a nice big sleeping area on the inside, and you've got the vent at the back as well. That will lead to the external fly, or the outer fly. You've got some pockets down on the sides, but it's a nice dark area to get your head down. There is some tie points for the door, but for now I'm not going to do that because I just want to keep the flies out of here for now. There's Alan fashionably opening the door. Now the top half is mesh and the bottom half is your normal plastic that you would find on your windows. There we are, Mary Poppins there. She'll get there in the end. So that's one thing I will say about it. The guy lines are great, especially when they've got 2 anchor points, because it's, you know, extra or less stress on each one. Pull them out and see how they get on. Always stick them out no matter what, because you never know when's going to change, especially in the UK. In the UK it's it's dodgy. So the back has got some anchor points here as well. Obviously we're not going to stick them out today, but it has got the air vent here. You've got a nice bit of mesh, and like I said, that bit can be zipped up on the inner fly. Stick them out even tauter. As long as you've got your guy lines out, you're going to have a nice taut tent. Right, as I said before, so basically this was a quick throw up of this tent. Now, like I said, this is the Trail Brazen 4 Air. Now, if you notice, I haven't even pegged out the bottoms. That's how stable it is. And this is literally pegged in by 4 pegs at the moment. You've got your 3 air beams, but it's obviously got the awning pegged out as well, and 2 pegs just in the ground sheet. I think it's a pretty damn stable tent, to be honest. Now, this was brought to me obviously by my mother, so yeah, so it's not a bad looking tent all in all. As people have previously done this, they've set the inner up first. I probably wouldn't, like I said before, I would always do the external first. For the simple fact is, if you've got bad weather, you want to know how to set it up and not just have the inner flapping around while you're trying to do the external. Also, the inner does go over the 2 beams that are underneath, so you want that stretched out and then that over the top. You don't want them beams, you don't want them trailing across here. Someone's going to have an accident, someone's going to fall and trip. So just a quick one. Obviously you've seen me put the, like I said, the outer up first and the inner second. I just think it's a little bit of a better way. You're not going to have those 2 beams going over here, as I said a minute ago, tripping over and falling over them. Set the outer up first. You can even park your car in it. Right, I'll stick some dimensions up. I'll get out here and you can look at the dimensions, and I'll leave the website or links in the description. Just when you do peg them out, you can peg these beams out so you can get a little bit more space, but just remember about the tension in the back that is going underneath the internal fly. But yeah, you can peg all these beams out and they are solid. Now, there's only one disappointment I've seen with this tent, and that's with the pump. Now, I wish it had some kind of pressure gauge on it just to tell you what PSI it was going up. So most of them go up to 7 PSI, but to be honest, when you feel like there's too much pressure, just stop. And remember, on a hot day, they will expand, or the air inside the beams will expand. So just be aware of that. Right, so quickly, before we go any further, what I'm going to do is we're going to pump up some air beds. So this is very similar to the ones you see from Flextail. Now, we're going to inflate some beds, like I said. So you've got an inflate, deflate, and what they like to call enhancing off. I have no idea what that is, and I ain't going to get into it just yet. So what we're going to do, like I said, is just pump the air beds up and we can see what room we've got. Right, let's set these single air beds up. Right, pretty simple air bed. Will come with the patches and the glue, just in case you have a leak. A little door there where you put the pump in, which is bloody noisy. Got a handle for the air bed, but you've also got a different way of pumping it up as well. So there's 2 different ways of pumping this air bed up, and these take a serious amount of charging by the looks of things, because the airbed itself is going to have to go up for about a foot. Right, so these airbeds are about a foot high, but this pump, really weird little contraption. Obviously, if you take it out, so you've got a light in there as well. So it's the same as the little ones that you get for the little airbeds. So say if you're a wild camper, then it's similar to them. Such a cool little bed though, to be honest. I've never pumped one of these up. It's been a while since I used one, but they do come with this maggoty little pillow, which is probably great for your dogs. No. Right, so let's get that in here. Brilliant, isn't it? For 2 people, you're even going to have a gap in the middle. Yeah, pocket little beds. I'll try and put the link in the description if I can get hold of them. But yeah, really good bits of kit. Obviously the pump will go in and out. I haven't pumped this up fully, as you can see it's a little bit, but yeah, good bit of kit for this tent. Yeah, nice. You've got inflate, deflate and enhancing mode, but when we press that it seems to go a lot faster. Right, so just for now I'm going to drop this thing down, obviously start with the porch, bring the door down, but I'm going to leave it slightly open so I can push all the wind out from the back of the tent. I'm going to leave the internal inside, so when the mother decides to go out camping herself it'll be nice and easy, she hasn't got to stick the internal up, so basically it'll be an all-in-one. Let's get it down. Right, as I said first, pegs out, porch down. The great thing about these tents, you can be as brutish as possible. So all I'm going to do is let the air beams down and it's more or less done. As I said, I'm going to leave the gap there so you can push the air out as you're trying to crush it down and make it as small as possible. Next thing, the window's got to go down. Again, doing the same, so there's a bit of airflow, drops it easier. Now all I have to do is walk along the air beams, getting all the air out, and then it's a simple roll up. Once all the air's out of the air beams, like I said, just fold it up, fold it in a way where you can still push the air out of the air beam. These ribbons can be your tent, never undo them, because if you can get them round it after you've had it up, then you'll know you'll be able to get it in the bag. And if you're struggling, you ain't going to get it in the bag. It's as simple as that. See, these little things, they help. Now, it's not very often you get one of these tents that actually goes straight back in the bag, so it's pretty good. All we've got to do, poles in, job's done, job's a good one. Nice and simple. Don't forget, whenever you're going camping, also take a brush, because if you want to keep your ground sheet nice and clean, then as you're rolling it up, you can brush the crap off it as well. That is the Trail Brazen 4Air, and I've done this just because my mum wanted it. It was sitting there with my power bank trying to keep my camera charged.
Don't forget, the pump must go in the bag in the tent.
Go and get it in there.